I've so excited to be with you. I'm Donnie Tuttle, your host. I'm with Angie Nowak, and you're going to love what Angie has to bring to you. She's a trailblazing neuroscientist, and she didn't stay in the land of nerds. She came back and she brought all this goodness to you, leaders. She is the senior vice president and of business development at the Brain Code Centers. We're going to talk about that, but she specializes in getting this gray matter here in tune so that you are optimized for what you're trying to accomplish. Now, before we get into that, Angie, I've got to admit, I had a flashback as I'm looking at this brain optimizer here. The year was 2020, just before COVID.
Yeah.
I was speaking in front of, it was an audience of about 1,200 people. This was by far the biggest, best speaking event that I'd been able to be a part of.
Yeah.
Authors were there, people whose books I'd read and admired, and I was told that my segment had shrunken down. And I got up, and in the middle of my wonderful performance, my mind started telling me, "You're going to forget what you're saying. You're going to forget what you're saying." And guess what happened? In that moment, I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I had a glitch. I
For
had a
sure.
blip. Leaders out there, I'm wondering if you've ever glitched, if you've ever blipped in front of your people just before a big deal, at a moment where it's crucial. And if you did, maybe you can feel a little bit of my pain. But I want to know, I want you, before we even jump into discussion with Angie, how much do you think that could be costing you? Angie, you're gonna help us fix ourselves in 30 minutes. But before you do, thanks for letting me open up the junk drawer of my brain just to even start out with, because we all have problems. Angie, can you tell, I'm so curious about you, but can you tell me, what's your mission? What's your origin? Where do you come from? And where do you get off telling us about what to do with our brains?
Heck yes. And I love your vulnerability in saying that because if anyone has ever done any public speaking, they've been there where your brain has a glitch and you're like, either you freeze, right? It's kind of fight, flight, freeze. Like, what do you do, right? Hopefully you talk your way around it. I've definitely seen people full on freeze, like dead deer in headlights done. So, but yeah, my name is Angie, and I am the Senior Vice President of Brain Code Centers, which is one of the largest brain mapping and neurofeedback companies in the world. I've had the personal opportunity to treat tens of thousands of people with brain mapping and neurofeedback. And obviously, I'm a neurospecialist. I believe that everybody can benefit from that. But more than that, I really want to help people optimize their brain. One way that we do that is with a brain map, which is a quantitative electroencephalogram. It's kind of like an EEG or a SPECT image, except that we're not only looking for structural damage, right? We're looking at the electrical and the neurological wave activity happening in the brain. And Donnie, I'm pretty sure if I were to run a brain map on you, I bet you have beta on the cingulate. Your brain is kind of always go, 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 drive, 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 running. And sometimes that's even harder, right? That when our brain is going so fast, we tend to glitch, right? It's like two steps ahead. So I mean, I don't know, right? Maybe
I think it's time traveling. I don't really know. Yeah.
could I be wrong? Possibly, probably not. But that's what we start with. And then the actual neurofeedback treatment that we do is a way to correct those patterns, right? Literally operant conditioning of the brain. It's reward training. And with my remote system, I actually train people all over the world. I have literally clients in Canada, in Dubai, doing neurofeedback with us with their headset from home. And that truly is a way to ingrain new neural pathways in the brain. We're not putting any stim in. It's all operant conditioning, which is reward training. So we're literally teaching the brain to create those new patterns. However, also, I am also a keynote speaker and love speaking on brain health and mental wellness and how to optimize your brain every single day and how to truly make your brain your best asset work the best for you. So, Donnie, one way I loved you, kind of being vulnerable and telling us about that situation. The way that I like to equate that is with professional athletes, right? And so I'm a golfer. I played soccer in college, but now I play golf. And you watch some of the best in the biz, right? You watch Rory McIlroy walk up to the 18th hole. Okay, he's in the lead, he's crushing it. You're like, oh, this guy's going to bring it home. And then 15 strokes later, you're like, what on earth just happened? Right? That we needed a three par, like call it what it is. And you just, like you're over in the trees, you're in the sand. What on earth? Because we know you're the best, right? It's not that he forgot how to play golf. His muscle memory was 100% there. It's that his brain was not trained properly, right? He
Mm.
went into fight or flight, as we all would, right? We know that $3 million is on the line. You said, how much does it cost you? It costs him a lot, right? You know that's online. Now what starts to happen? Okay. So now my brain goes from possibly it was in a parasympathetic nervous system state into a sympathetic nervous system state, right? Your brain starts racing, your heart starts going a little faster, maybe your palms start sweating. Really, no one in that situation is going to perform well. So, how do we make sure rather than what do I do just in that moment, how do I keep my brain from going there in the first place?
Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm curious. By the way, for those of you who joined the live link, you are able to like affect what's happening in this conversation by dropping your stuff into the chat. If you're on YouTube Live or any of the other places, we don't see you yet. We will in the future, but drop it in here into the chat. Angie, I'm curious. Like nobody wakes up as a 5-year-old and says that they want to be like a superhero, of all like of brains. Where did this all start? How'd you get to where you're at?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, honestly, I grew up, I know you said, Angie left the world of nerds. First off, I'm still in the world of nerds. Like that, those are my people. We operate together. I just chose to step out a little bit and start speaking about it rather than like hanging in the background. But still a nerd, full on. Um,
Haha! Long
honestly,
live
I
the
grew
nerds. Right.
what like
Yeah.
cheers, nerds unite, brain nerds unite. Honestly, I grew up a pretty classic underachiever. I'm like positive that I graduated high school with below a 3.0, like a 2.8, 2.9 GPA, and just honestly didn't had a lot of apathy, right? That I, cared about sports and cared about being cool and whatever, but school really was not, on my radar. And then between, it was honestly a Christmas miracle that I got into college. I don't even know how that happened, probably my test scores. Then between my sophomore and junior year of college, I went home for the summer to visit my family because, I was an underachiever, but a decent person. And I went to donate blood. And when I left the facility, I ended up passing out. And the way in which my body locked up, I fell, I hit the ground, and I ended up fracturing my skull and suffering a skull fracture and traumatic brain injury. And it completely changed my life. I spent a lot of time in intensive care. Once I was released in a walker because I wasn't able to walk on my own. And I, went and saw my neurosurgeon, and he kind of laid it out that, like, hey, this might be what it is now. And fortunately, Carolyn Nowak, my mom was cool, like crunchy and cool way before it was cool to be crunchy. Like that woman was like, we will never accept this is as good as it's going to get. Thank you for your memories. And she went and found all of these alternative forms of medicine in order to heal me. And I, fought back and started caring about life, right? Because at that point you kind of go, what if I wasted it? What if I wasted a really healthy functioning brain on, the BS of not achieving? And I went from an underachiever to a crazy overachiever in about 6 months of learning to rewalk. And when I went back to college, I kind of never looked back. I carried a 4.0 for the rest of college through grad school. And I understood what our brain is capable of, right? As my brain was able to heal itself in a completely profound way. And I decided that, that was my life purpose, right? That truly, this is some Viktor Frankl man's search for meaning, that, finding meaning within the suffering that I went through so that I could go and work with the world and try to heal brains on a more global level. And I've been trying to do it ever since.
Wow. Wow. And so I'm hearing some threads. For those of you who are a part of Fuel, Angie actually, she does, you, two of the best courses I think that are on there. One is about neuropriming for peak performance, which I hope you'll share with us in a moment because I got a lot from that. And then optimize your brain health. And so if you're not a part of Fuel, go check it out. Take Angie's course. She'll get you ratcheted up. But you help people to get things taken. First off, I think there's like a whole view that you take. There's something about the brain being an electrical. There's a terminology that you say, and I can't remember it from in one of your courses. The brain's an electrical thing. It's not a something, but there's like us thinking about it though.
It's an organ, not a muscle, and it's literally we're just firing off electricity all the time. Like our brain is entirely made up of electrical impulses, right? And neurons firing all the time.
Insane. But the whole it's not even alternative. It's just like a non you don't throw rocks at medicine, but you try to find natural ways for people to be in peak prime performance with our brain. And a lot of the stuff we're doing, we're out there kind of crippling ourselves, right?
That's exactly right. No, you're right. So there is no shame in the medication game. I believe people do what they have to do and kind of, operate within the information that they're given. I just know that our brains are capable of doing it on its own. We are not beholden to what we're born with, right? Our brains are capable of change. Our brains are neuroplastic. They're willing to change. We just don't necessarily understand how to change them, right? Sometimes as a culture, we focus neck down. It's like, okay, if I'm drinking water, I'm going to sleep, I'm, working out my body, your brain is your best asset, right? Ask any professional athlete, ask any person that if your body's functioning really well, but your brain is not, you have nothing, right? If your brain is functioning really well, but your body's maybe not, I believe that you still have your best asset working for you. So that really is, my goal is to make sure that your best asset is working the best for you.
Mm. Where do you think that a lot of us are getting, whether it's performance science, brain science, like going even like the story of you going from being an underachiever to an overachiever, it's almost like literally it's parallel to relearning how to walk. The fact that you did that, what do you feel like what do we get wrong about those things?
I think it's more so that we truly don't understand what our brains are capable of, right? And that's probably because we live in a culture that really is, a little bit more focused on this just kind of is what it is, right? Operate within that, only change symptoms, never get to the root cause. And, that's really where I just think that we're not, being fully optimized, that we have to get to the root cause, right? Really, where is this coming from? That if you're having trouble with focus or motivation, maybe that's an ADD pattern, although it's the most misdiagnosed thing that I see. Or maybe, you've got some early childhood trauma and that's happening on a cellular level and we need to address it there, right? Or maybe you have some slow wave activity happening in the linear learning center of your brain that's just not serving you in any way. Or possibly, you have slept like crap for the last 10 years and your brain needs to sleep better and that's going to solve a lot of those problems, right? But you're right that, psychology, psychiatry is the only field of medicine that we don't measure the organ that we're going to treat. What? Right? That if you're like, hey, I think I'm having like some tummy issues, and they were like, don't worry, let's not do any scans. Let's just cut in there and see what's up. You would go, no, thank you. Let's maybe do some scans. But for some reason with the brain, we think very differently. So I really am let's get to the root problem.
Mm. Oh, look at that. We have
Oh,
Alex Petition joining us. Alex, you're just in time
oh
because
my goodness. Tell
uh,
me what we're
oh,
about to get into.
well, I'm going to ask Angie to do something with our group that you did. You did this for me, and honestly, Angie, I'm not going to lie. Some of the best things in life are it's stuff that I wouldn't have done until I trusted someone enough to let them take me through it, and then I did it. But there was something you did with us as a group. I think it was within the Fuel group, or maybe it was in your course, maybe it was both. But neuropriming,
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
neuropriming, like what is it? Why is it? And then maybe can you give us a small sample of it?
I'm absolutely going to. And actually, I'm going to roll out something new that's not in my course that I just was saving for today.
Yes.
So neuropriming for peak performance, right? That if we're going to go work out, let's say, right? We're going to go lift weights, we're going to go run, we're going to do something active. What do we need to do? We need to prime our bodies, right? This is how we tear hamstrings. This is how we pull muscles if we're not priming our body. But for some reason, we as a culture, we walk into meetings, we walk into conferences, we walk into big presentations, and have we prepped our brain properly, right? That we think about it as something different, right? And maybe that's something that you were saying, Donnie, that you were telling yourself, I'm going to forget this, right? I'm going to forget it. And then what happened? You forgot it, right? You kind of spoke that into existence. And I honestly believe that if you had been able to prime your brain in a different way, your brain, just like a muscle, though it's an organ, would have been ready and would not have failed you in that way. So a couple of my favorite like peak priming exercise that are in the course, so I recommend you go check it out, are first off, box breathing. I love box breathing. It is a way to, and box breathing, if you're not familiar with it, also known as combat breathing, is where you breathe in for 4, a slow 4 count, hold it at the top where you're holding that breath for 4, breathe it out audibly for 4, and then hold it at the bottom for 4. Let's actually do it together,
Yeah,
right? We're
yeah,
kind of a,
awesome.
let's fire it up.
Please,
let's
let's
do it
do
together.
it.
So everybody who's on this, I want you to follow me with your breath. Breathe it in for 4. Hold that at the top for 4. I want you to breathe out audibly for 4. And hold that at the bottom for 4. Honestly, this is something that I recommend doing every single morning.
What
right?
just
So
happened? What just happened to people's brain, Angie? Tell them what just happened. Like, because
within that one
I feel
breath,
it right away. Yeah.
So within that one breath, and Alex, I know that you do a lot of this kind of stuff. Every time I
Yes.
talk to Alex, he's like, I've been doing tapping. It's going to help disrupt the stress signal in your brain and take your brain from a sympathetic nervous system state into a parasympathetic nervous system state. And I like to think about this almost as like parachute, right? That sympathetic is where you're kind of in that fight or flight, hypervigilance, overstimulated. Parasympathetic is bringing it down into that calmer central nervous system state, almost to a place of homeostasis. So honestly, I recommend doing that for a couple of minutes. And honestly, that's a really good thing, kind of a precursor, right? That's a great way to start and end your day. A good
Yes.
rescue is going to be bilateral stimulation tapping. And when I
Yes.
say a rescue, I mean that you are in a sympathetic nervous system state. You're about to walk into a tumultuous meeting, or you're in a tumultuous meeting. Donnie, if you're about to walk on stage, I recommend bilateral stimulation tapping. And it's literally tapping on either side of the body. And honestly, I recommend the more stressed you are, the more hypervigilant you are, the faster I want you to tap. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's not. Tapping, 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 tapping. If you're in a meeting, tap on those legs, right? Nobody needs to see you doing it. Before, I just spoke in New York for the agency, this beautiful conference. Right before I walked on stage, if you had looked at my legs, your girl was tapping away. Just wanted to make
is
sure
that doing?
Ready.
What's that doing, Angie?
That's another thing that is disrupting physiologically right at that moment, the stress signal happening in your brain. So your brain is firing off signals, right? Telling us, so Donnie, you had said earlier, the number one fear in the world is public speaking. People would rather be dumped into a shark tank with great whites than walk onto a stage and speak. And we as public speakers are like, fired, let me go see how that is, right? So literally your brain is telling you, I'm being chased by a bear. Dear God, let me get away from this. And you're walking into that fire. So the best thing that you can do is tell your brain, right? Tap it out, tell your brain, no, we don't need to be in sympathetic. We're not in danger. Let's get it down into parasympathetic. Now, my new one that I want to intro for everyone
By the
today.
way, Angie, before you, one more cliffhanger. Hold on, people. I'm putting this in chat, but I want to say this too. Last night I did this with my daughter for a minute before bed. She said, "What was that?" She's like, "I feel so calm." She had so much stuff running around her head. She could not fall asleep. I said, "Let's take some deep breath." Okay. And then we did this, and she thought it was magic. She's like, and my wife came in after me. She said she was already asleep. Just like 2 minutes after, Marco, she's like, yeah, go say goodnight to Izzy. She was out. So I just want you to know. And now let's hear this new one.
Oh my gosh, Alex. Well, obviously I know you and I've met your wife. So I know that your daughter has a fast brain. It's not even a question in my mind. And sometimes when we drive a really fast vehicle, it has a hard time parking at night, right? That we lay down to go to bed and we're like, oh my God, I'm going to solve the world's problems. So that's a really
Yeah.
great way to, yeah, it's a great way to, I know, right? Literally, I'm like, I don't have to meet your kids. I know what their brains look like. That's such a
Yeah.
great way for us to wind down at night and kind of bring our brains into that place of homeostasis to prep us for sleep. So not only should we be prepping for peak performance, we also should be prepping our brains to go to sleep at night. That's a beautiful thing. If you have a kid that maybe is a little overstimulated and it might be kind of hard for them to use those tools in the moment, you can also tap on them, right? It's going to have the same effect. So if you're like, hey
So
buddy, do
cool.
you mind if I tap on you and you tap on them?
Oh,
That's
that's
also
so
going to help
cool.
them bring them down into a calmer place.
Hmm.
Oh, it's so, so cool. All right, go. Tell us your big one. Tell us your new one.
All right, so the new one. As babies, one of the biggest reasons why we learn to crawl is to bring both hemispheres of our brain together. Okay, this is a beautiful way for us to truly meld those hemispheres. As we get older, as we become adults, we're not doing the same thing. Okay, we stop increasing plasticity and we stop melding both hemispheres of our brain together. So I hear from a lot of people, I'm more left brain, I'm more right brain, right? I'm more linear learning, mathematics, and logic. I'm more
Yes.
feeling and emotion and attachment. But we know that to be truly optimized, we need those both hemispheres working together. So the new trick that I want to teach you is called cross crawling. Now, one way to cross crawl is to do burpees. Burpees is a great way of cross crawling. But rather than me telling you to do 50 burpees right now, because I'm a nicer person than that, I'm going to show you a little cross crawl. Now, keep in mind, we're in work from home, so we're party on the top, like, or business on the top, party on the bottom. So I'm in stretchy pants, try not to judge it. All right. I want you
That's
taking,
all of us, right? Yeah, well,
like, don't even, I mean, at least I'm wearing pants, right? All right.
Yeah,
I
that's
just want
right.
you to take your arms. I want you to put them in a football, and I want you to bring arm to knee,
Everybody do this. Everybody do
knee.
this.
Yep, we're cross crawling together. Amazing. I've
Oh,
literally had audiences of thousands of people do this together. It's amazing watching people. This is an amazing way to get your brain ready to receive information. So this is going to
oh my
bring our
gosh.
prefrontal cortex in gear. Honestly, I should have made you do it right at the beginning of this leadership live. This is going to
Oh,
help prep your brain to take in information and commit it to permanency. All right, you guys can all sit, or you can keep doing it if this
I
feels
know.
good.
That's amazing. I'm going to turn off my camera and not stop doing it.
It's the best way to prep your brain to receive information. So if ever, right, when we go to conferences and we're like, wait a second, I'm going to be in this conference for 8 hours receiving information, and we're like, why didn't I retain it? Of course you didn't retain it. You just were bombarded with hours of information, which is also why Fuel is so amazing and so revolutionary in taking those conferences and giving you that information later so that you can rewatch it. But one of the best things that you can do is to prep your brain going into it, into a meeting, into a conference, into anything that you want to say, hey, I need to be on for this. I need my prefrontal cortex to be in gear. Cross crawling.
hmm. These are,
Whoa.
look at it, like any of these things we can take and we can do like right now, and it
Real
changes
time.
things. That's what I'm talking about. That's real value. We have some questions that people are putting in here. I want to get to those, but before we do, you're not just about getting people stretched up and warmed up for what they're about to do and be peak performers. You're also about creating longevity. And I know that there's this that's a part of your love. So in a part of your mission.
Yeah.
So I wanted to let you speak to that before we got to the questions and just
Yeah.
yeah, what do we need to be seeing and thinking of in that realm and what's got your heart in terms of
Oh my
that?
gosh. Thank you for saying that. So first off, I have aging parents, right? We all have, most of us, right? Well, first off, we're aging, but my parents are aging. And so longevity is something that has just really come into my mind, even in the last like 5 years. And it's kind of this hot topic, right? Longevity. How do I keep my brain fresher for longer? As we have so many things on the rise, degenerative issues, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. So I'm a very big, I don't want to be reactive, right? That I believe that in general, medicine is really good on the reactive side. I want to be on the proactive side. And again, as we age, as we get older, we stop learning. Truly, we stop
Mm.
increasing plasticity in the brain. And even if you come to me and say, "Well, Angie, I read all of the time and I play golf." Do you already know how to play golf? Do you already know how to read? So you're really not increasing plasticity. So kind of some of my favorite like little hacks, first off, is puzzling. This goes back to the super nerd situation. You will never walk into Nowak Manor and not see a puzzle on my table. I just got out my Christmas puzzle because also, like I don't even care. November 1st. I have a Christmas puzzle laid out. And I'm doing a couple pieces every single day, right? How long does that take? 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how much time I have. That is going to
Angie,
increase
mine
my
says 2 to 3 years on it, and I finished it in one day.
That's right. I love it. Yes. Do that, right? Like this is
That could have
such a
been the
beautiful
age.
thing. Get yourself a 1,000 piece, 500 piece puzzle. Fire it up, man. First off, that's aggressive. Like don't finish your puzzle that fast. But like do a couple pieces every single day. This is working memory. This is cognition. This is literally working the hippocampus. So that's such a beautiful thing that you can do. That's so easy. If you have a family, Alex, you with your kids, that should be something that's just like a part of your day-to-day life, right? Rather than let's turn on the TV and watch a show as a family, let's do some puzzling as a family.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
I
But by
this
the way, Angie, if you think,
Yes.
I have kids. Donnie has a few kids too,
Mhm.
Couple.
just a
Heck yeah.
couple.
8.
Um,
Yeah, we have
eight,
8,
yeah,
but
eight.
yeah, not all of them
But
live
who's
here.
who's
Getting a
counting?
puzzle
You could do
today.
that with. They'll finish it in a day. That's what happens. Everybody puzzles together and it's done.
You might go through a lot of puzzles. Also, so
Yeah.
my grandma, my mom's mom, is 90 years old. She has a puzzle on her table and she's working on it. Why?
Oh
Because
yeah.
I want her to keep her brain as fresh as long as we possibly can, right? There are some things that come along with aging. I have 50-year-olds in my office going, well, yeah, I mean, my memory's terrible, but that's just aging. Is 50 the new 95? What are you
Yeah.
talking
Right.
about? No way, right? Like you're freaking young. Let's keep your brain as young as we can for as long as we can. Now, I could go into autophagy and cell turnover and those things. That's probably another like hour-long leadership live. But puzzling is a great key to help keep your brain fresh. I recently started learning Spanish. Am I good? I am not. Am I learning it? Yes. Is it increasing plasticity? It is. Am I going to get there? Heck yeah.
Nice.
What
Nice.
what about one of these things, Angie? Is this yeah?
Music is another way to meld both hemispheres of the brain together. Music is incredible, especially if you're playing music, playing and singing. Oh my gosh. Now, for most people, going out and learning a musical instrument sounds so intimidating. Do it. I can't even explain the benefits for your brain.
I love it. I'm gonna get to a couple questions, but I'm gonna key you up in your brain too, and just prime it because I want to know how we, the group, this group of collective leaders here, can help you in your mission because it's a worthy one and it's so easy to ask, right? Whenever you're doing amazing things, and obviously where to find you. But let's see, Brad Dyer says, how much of an impact does what we fuel our bodies fuel? How does that affect how our brain works? I think he's like, what maybe
Absolutely. Yeah,
explain
what we're taking
the
in.
equation of what goes into what comes
Yeah.
out.
Brad, our brains and our bodies are holistic, right? So you're 100% right that health is not a silver bullet. It's a puzzle, right? And it's a lot of different pieces going into that. So food absolutely matters. My motto is whole foods. Okay, is like 80-90% whole foods. When I say whole foods, I mean one ingredient foods. Chicken, broccoli, celery, right? If you look at a package and one, it never expires, highly processed, right? Ultra processed foods. Imagine the fact that that never expires and you're putting that into your body and expecting your body to digest that. I could sit on this all day long. Same thing, dyes, things like that. Our bodies are not meant to digest those things. I'm actually reading a book right now called Metabolical. Pick it up. It talks about how ultimately our bodies are being poisoned regularly with these highly ultra processed foods. So you're 100% right. If somebody walks into my office sipping a Diet Coke, and I'm not even going to tease, I love a Diet Coke. Like once a year, I'll sip that. I don't feel good about it. I know it's eating my bones, but it's delicious. But if they're walking in sipping a Diet Coke, I'm like, let's have a larger conversation, right? As you want your brain to be healthy, and I know that, let's also talk about this other aspect of health. Okay. So yeah, what you're fueling your body with deeply matters. I couldn't give you necessarily a percentage, but if that's not an aspect that you're already focused on, refocus that. Whole foods, one ingredient.
Love
Love it.
that.
And so just for those of you who joined late or like to summarize, so we had box breathing, which I'm now calling combat breathing. That's so much more cool.
I
Like
know, right?
combat
It's
Yeah,
way
breathing.
that
cooler.
is
Or
combat
we
breathing.
Yeah.
combat breathing, tapping, which is that
Let's
was the
show that
one.
real quick because somebody just asked. Yep, there you go. Somebody asked in chat. That's what it is. Bilateral tapping.
Called bilateral stimulation tapping. The bilateral is key. So we don't want to be tapping together. We're tapping bilaterally. That's how it's hitting both hemispheres of the brain.
Yeah,
So
totally.
we did that. Oh gosh, I know I'm missing one. Oh, the new one,
The crawling.
the
Cross
crawling,
crawling.
cross
Yep.
crawling.
Cross
Yeah.
Okay.
crawling.
Which is yeah, it's good for the back as
Oh, you
well,
could
as
do that while
Alex
you're
said.
sitting at the desk. Look at that. That's a great
Oh,
idea.
yeah, you can
Hey,
bring it.
Oh,
not,
look.
not.
Heck yeah,
Come
you
on,
can.
everyone.
Let's
That's a
go.
superpower hack. I promise the
Super
next
hack.
meeting will be better if you do that right before the meeting. It'll
Not
And
be
even a
better.
question.
and I
Not
would
even a
say do
question.
this in between. So for me, my whole thing is like helping people to stay connected, their purpose connected, their process. Do this in
Yeah,
between meetings so you don't bring your last meeting into your next meeting, right? So you're
absolutely.
like, there's some
Mhm.
of that. And then puzzles. All of these are like great, great, great things that we
So
can, all
good.
of us can literally within a moment add to our life. We we all know sometimes we need to eat better, sleep better, drink more water. These are things you concentrate on, but you're also really good at helping us to make it compact and doable. And so,
Yeah.
Angie, if you were someone, and maybe you were like in the crowd, and we rated ourselves as like, God, I'm just so busy. I haven't been able. I know I need to do this stuff. Like, where would you start?
Yeah. So, Donnie, I think that sometimes we get hung up on this kind of idea of work-life balance, right? Like, oh my gosh, I have so many things. If I just got a different job, I'd have better work-life balance. If I just did, and honestly, I think work-life balance is a load of BS, if I'm being 100% honest. You can be so successful and be the best parent and meal prep and get to the gym every day. And you can do all the, who are you? Well, you must be a different type of person than I am. I believe in mental wellness integration, integrating
Yes.
wellness practices into our daily life. So it's not about balance. I honestly don't think that that exists. This is
Hmm.
habit stacking, right? I
Hmm.
guarantee you that there are things that you already do. You're brushing your teeth twice a day. Box breathe while you brush your teeth. I guarantee you that you've doom scrolled on your phone far longer than it would have taken to do a little bit of cross crawling or a little bit of bilateral stimulation
Yes.
tapping. Factor it into your day. Put a little note on your computer that says, take a deep breath, do some tapping, just as a nice little reminder. So I'm here for mental wellness integration. I honestly, if you're asking yourself, how do I fit one more thing in? I think you're asking the wrong question.
I,
Yeah.
I love that answer.
Such a
And like
such a good point.
this is yeah, it's an ingredient to the whole of what you're making.
Yeah.
Angie, tell us where we can find you.
Yeah.
Obviously, the work that you are doing and you can help others with, but also how can we help you with your mission?
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yes.
ultimately, my mission is to make brains healthy, right? Is to make brains well, is to make our mental wellness of the utmost of importance. So if you are sharing these hacks with your community, you are furthering that mission. Okay. So
Yes.
that's how you can help, right? Is furthering the information on, kind of the things that I'm giving you as, these are second nature to me, but for a lot of you, this might be brand new information. If you have, friends who struggle with anxiety or depression or things like that, I do 100% free consultations with brain code centers. My business partner, Rachel, and I do all of them. So if you're like, hey, I feel like I need to talk a little bit deeper, I want to talk a little bit more of some extra symptomology that I might be experiencing, braincodecenters.com, at Brain Code Centers, our Instagram. I try to give away a lot of free information. That's also my mission, right? Is to make brain health very accessible, that there's no gatekeeping here. So go follow us on Instagram. You can DM us if you're wanting to do a consultation, schedule that on the website or DM us. And I'd love to talk to you more personally and just understand a little bit more about your story.
And
Angie,
for your kids, right? This is important too for you all to hear
Oh,
this. Like
yeah.
if you have kids that you I've been lucky enough to be in your facility and go through your process. And uh if you have kids that you feel that you're just not quite sure, like maybe they need something and it's everything seems good, but something isn't working. It,
Mhm.
this is the control center, everyone.
That's right.
It's the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
And so reach out to Angie for that reason too. So about you, maybe someone you know, your kids, but
Yeah.
this is tune this up and everything starts getting better.
I love
It's
it.
top
Angie,
down.
we're going to jump into the time machine now, and we're going back to 2020. I'm about to get up on stage, and I'm about to give this speech that goes horribly wrong. And if you could just go fix that for me, I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll be a multimillionaire. It'd be great.
I wish I could take you back and have given you those tools right before you spoke, right? I always think that when I see professional athletes like kind of fall apart right at the end, I'm like, give me your brain, let me help it, and I think we'd have a different outcome.
It's so
Final
cool.
question, like how do we go, Angie, when does Angie have the book Learning to Walk Again, going from underachiever to overachiever by learning to walk again? I got to know. That's
Don't
my
even
final question
tease.
for you.
Has it been started? No. Has it been started in my brain? Absolutely. It will come down the pipeline the minute I'm not, managing 60 employees and multiple offices and speaking and, all those things. It will fall into place because I want it to be excellent and, that would be my baby. So it'll come. Just you wait. It'll be here.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for increasing the value of our
So
gray
good.
matter and bringing, shall I say it, bringing the spark back to hopefully some leaders who are out there who are going to make a difference. Thank you, Angie, so much. Thank you, leaders, for showing up here.
Seriously.
And of course, continue to interact. Find Angie in the places she said. Find her on Fuel. Go visit.
Yeah.
Go ring her. It's easy. It's easy to connect with someone who's as generous as you've been today, Angie. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I would love to talk to every single person.
Yes. Thank you, Angie, so much. And listen, everyone, just apply those things today. And it will change for you today. It's not something you have to wait for. It's
No.
an instant impact. That's how it works. So thanks, everyone. Thanks.